Hello, I'm June Edwards, and welcome to Senior Topics for the very end of August and beginning of September. You can see I've got the fan going. It's the hot time of year. So let's get right to it. First of all, by now, your grandkids or great grandkids are probably back to school. And I love to share this picture. That's a Norman Rockwell photo showing traditionally what it was like when seniors were going to school. Now, today they don't walk to school. Most of them get rides. I do see high school age kids walking in my neighborhood, but I don't see elementary kids walking, mainly because people are worried about unfamiliar strangers trying to kidnap them or whatever. So, there's a real safety protocol. And the dog doesn't usually follow him to school and walk around without a leash anymore. But I thought that was a nice walk down nostalgia lane for just a few minutes. Now I want to look at the themes for the last week. And we're going to start, let's see, this week was basically August 28th through about the 4th of September. So let's look at August 28th in 1146. We're looking at almost 1,000 years ago. European leaders decided to outlaw the crossbow because they were intending to end war for all time. Boy, was that wishful thinking. I wish they had been successful, honestly. Moving up then on August 30th to 1850 is when Honolulu in Hawaii became an official city. And at that time, it was ruled by kings in a Hawaiian dynasty. Looking on August 30th, 1945, that was the date that General MacArthur landed in Japan. It was at the end of World War II, and he freed many of the prisoners of war who all of them were suffering from malnutrition. Then in 1967, Thurgood Marshall became the first Black justice for our United States Supreme Court. In 1995, the cable news network, or CNN, joined the internet. We're looking at basically 25 years ago, and has a lot happened since then. The power of the internet today. Moving on then to August 31st, the last day of the month, in 1997, Princess Diana and her boyfriend, Dodi Fayed, died in a car crash in France. Going back a little bit before that, in 1978 was the first climate change conference to see if pollution really affects weather patterns. And that was held in Switzerland. In 2005, on August 31st, the United States released more oil after Hurricane Katrina decimated our gasoline supplies. Well, one day ago, Hurricane Ida hit Louisiana, and it looks like it was almost the same day as Hurricane Katrina. It has been decimating and breaking the levees again in New Orleans 20 years later. So that's kind of a sad reminder. These hurricanes do go on. In 2012, on August 31st, gray wolves lost federal protection after they had successfully repopulated their species in the United States. over a 20-year period. Ranchers are allowed to shoot them and to cull the herd back, but they must keep 100 gray wolves in the area at all times. So we can keep the species going, but still keep the ranchers happy and not lose too many of their sheep or cattle. Okay, moving on now to a new month, September. The first week is Child Accident Prevention Week. National Grandparents' Day will be the first Sunday after Labor Day. And that hasn't really taken off in our country the way Mother's Day and Father's Day has taken off. I think because we include our grandmothers in Mother's Day and our grandfathers in Father's Day. So maybe, do you think we need a Grandparents' Day as a holiday? That's something that we can think about and discuss. Okay, so September 1st, World War II began when Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. Now, we didn't enter the war for a few more years, but the war was very actively going after September 1st, 1939 in Europe. September 2nd is National Blueberry Popsicle Day. This is a very, very hot time of year for us. September is much hotter than June and sometimes the beginning of July, at least in Southern California. In 1789, on September 2nd, the United States established the Treasury Department under Alexander Hamilton. September 3rd is Skyscraper Day. And that seems so strange to me, but we have a day to celebrate all the marvelous skyscrapers. And we could only have skyscrapers because of a man whose last name was Otis, who invented the elevator. Before that, people had to climb 4, 5, 6 flights of stairs to get to their apartments in New York, which was built vertically on a few islands. And it was hard on people. So you can celebrate Skyscraper Day if you wish to that day. September 3rd is also Uncle Sam's birthday. The image of Uncle Sam, a tall, skinny man with a tall hat, a navy blue coat, and red and white striped pants and a long white beard, was first published and used on this day in 1813. Also in 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, and that officially ended the American Revolution, which started our country. Moving over to September 4th, Sid Hoff, a well-known children's author and illustrator, was born in 1912. It is also Newspaper Carrier Day. Remember the boys who'd have these big bags filled with newspapers slung over their shoulders or on the back of their bikes? Well, that soon was taken over by immigrants and adults out of work who now throw the papers out of the back of the truck or out of the front of their car. And whether it lands on your lawn or somebody else's lawn, that doesn't seem to matter much to them. Also in 1998, Google first incorporated. And what would we do without Google as a search engine on the internet now? Only a short 21 years ago. Also in 1781, the official birthday of Los Angeles was September 4, or is September 4, 1781, when a group of people calling themselves Los Pueblos, or the villagers, officially incorporated their town under the Mexican government, which had just gone through an independence revolution. So Los Angeles is actually pretty old as a city. 1781 to 1981 is 200 years. And then you add another 20 years, no, 30 years, and 30 years would bring it up to now. So this year, Los Angeles is 130 years old. Doesn't seem like it, does it? Well, let's get to some of our stories, shall we? All right. First one I want to share is about watering your lawn. Now, you who live in a facility, you don't have to worry about that, but somebody has to keep the grass green. And you know, we didn't even use green grass very much before the 1800s. It wasn't until the Industrial Revolution that lawns became practical for middle-class Americans. Lawns were seen as a luxury item for the wealthy, the elite, who could afford groundskeepers to keep the lawns looking nice and keep them cut using scythes, the old sickle or scythe that they used to chop through the grass. Not everyone wanted cattle or sheep grazing in the front lawn to keep the green stuff at a manageable height. President Woodrow Wilson did use sheep to keep the White House lawn weed-free and at a manageable height. And also other people like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson used sheep to keep their lawns, their home lawns, at manageable heights. Green, weed-free lawns did not exist in middle-class America until the late 18th century, when Americans with enough money traveled overseas and returned to the United States with images of beautiful English lawns. They wanted that. By 1915, the United States Department of Agriculture was collaborating with the U.S. Golf Association to find just the right grass to create a durable, attractive lawn, suitable to the many different climates in our country. They tested Bermuda grass, which works well in the Southwest. They looked at bluegrass from Europe, which works well back in Kentucky and areas on the East Coast, and a mixture of fescues and bent grass. 15 years later, which means 1930, the USDA discovered several grass combinations that would work in the United States. However, watering grass and maintaining it was expensive, and it really did not appear until the late 1940s after World War II. Before that, people just had dirt yards mostly. How much water does your lawn use at your facility or at your home? Well, the Municipal Water District of Orange County says that 50% or more of the water used in our homes is for the outdoors. It seems impossible, right? But to provide your lawn with just 1 inch of water takes a little over half a gallon per square foot. That means that even a really small postage stamp size lawn, 10 by 10 feet, requires 62 gallons of water. A 100 by 100 foot lawn uses 6,230 gallons of water. But every time that you turn the sprinklers on, a lot of it is wasted through leaks in the hoses or the pipes, evaporation because you water during a hot part of the day, or the water hitting cement sidewalks. And of course, the government seems to have their sprinklers going on. I've seen them on at noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Now, if the drought becomes much more serious, they're going to start reassigning us certain watering days, like Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays for one yard, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for a different part of the city. So watch for that. It is coming because the Lake Mead, which is the Colorado River, is at its lowest point in over 50 years. You know, we've had a lot of droughts. I remember how bad it was in the 1990s. We had no rain for 6 years in a row. And when the rain did come back, the kids in my room were begging me to let them go out and actually experience a rainstorm, because at 7 and 8 years of age, they had no recollection of what rain really was. They were sticking their tongues out so that they could taste the rain and shaking their heads in it and squealing and screaming, and they were just delighted. So we did have a little bit of rain, not much. The year before, we had a nice 24 inches. But this past year, in part of the area where I live in southern LA County, 4 inches of rain for the entire year. So we'll see what this next winter brings. Well, we're going to move on to a land of lushness, which is Hawaii. Honolulu became a city August 30th, back in the it was 1850. But let's look at Hawaii, and I have a picture to show you what I can show you here. It's not much. I was thinking, do I have a calendar? No, I don't. But look at this beautiful, beautiful site. How green it is. That is because during the rainy season, they have a rainy season and a dry season. Rainy season is slightly longer than the dry season. In the rainy season, they get tropical rainstorms every day in the afternoon. It's like a gentle mist. It's not like the flash flooding rainstorms that we occasionally get in our desert area. But because of that, Hawaii is the only state in the United States with a tropical rainforest. Gorgeous, gorgeous tropical flowers. Something to see if you go visit Hawaii. Have you been to Hawaii? A lot of us have, and we remember it as a land of paradise. You know, Hawaii is the only state made up entirely of islands. There are 8 main islands and many, many more. And from the east to the west, Hawaii is the second widest state in the United States, measuring 1,523 miles from the island of Niihau to the island of Hawaii, the Big Island. What do you think is the widest state? It's Alaska. When you look at it on a map, it just doesn't have a perspective. You have to look at it on a globe to really get an idea of what it is. Another interesting fact about Hawaii, at less than 500,000 years old, Hawaii's Big Island is the youngest of all the Hawaiian islands. It is still forming with active volcanoes as we speak. In many places, for good beaches, you have to wait 5 million years to get a world-class beach like the one on the Big Island. Kauai is the oldest of the main Hawaiian islands at about 6 million years old. Another interesting fact about Hawaii, by law, no building on Kauai is allowed to be built taller than a palm tree so that everyone can enjoy the views and access to the beaches. You know, Santa Barbara has a similar law. They don't allow any building on the beach side of a road so that everyone can enjoy the ocean views, especially the sunsets. Kauai is also known as the Garden Isle and is famous for its jagged green mountains, white sand beaches, and tropical landscapes. Well, I don't know if I can pronounce all of this, but Kalau'i Papa on Molokai was once a leper colony. It was governed by Father Damien, a Flemish Catholic missionary who was so dedicated to the lepers sent there. He himself later died of leprosy that he contracted while treating the patients. He brought order to the island, helping them build shelters and homes and grow crops and establish rules instead of having a barbaric way of living. Did you know that Hawaii, even today, is the most isolated population center on the face of the earth? Hawaii is 2,390 miles from California and 3,850 miles from Japan. It's more than 5,000 miles from the Philippines. And here is a beautiful picture that shows the formation. Look at this, and you can see underwater. The water is so clear that you can even see how the islands were built up from underwater volcanoes over millions of years. That gorgeous blue. It'd be fun to go there. Hawaii is open right now. And by the way, that reminds me, I wanted to let you know how we're doing with the COVID count right now. I have a CDC report from a Los Angeles County study, and the Orange County figures are slightly lower. A new study released this past week has analyzed COVID-19 infections in LA County. Excuse me. Unvaccinated residents are 20 times more likely to be hospitalized and have severe cases than those who are fully vaccinated, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The study has also found that unvaccinated people are 5 times more likely to become infected than those who are vaccinated. The CDC found that more than 25% of new cases in Los Angeles between May and July were from fully vaccinated people, but it was not deaths. And it was not people hospitalized. It was like a cold, the symptoms of a cold, unless they had some other chronic illness that makes things worse for everybody. According to the CDC, the data indicates that fully vaccinated individuals over the age of 16 are far less likely than unvaccinated people to become hospitalized, admitted to ICU, or require ventilation or die. And that holds true for the Delta variant, which is only a slight variation from the original COVID-19. And you know that these things ebb and flow, just like the flu. And right now, the Delta variant numbers have gone way, 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 way down again in our area. So things are opening up again, pretty much. And I did want to talk just a little bit about Los Angeles, which is having its birthday. You know, today, Los Angeles is the second largest city in the United States after New York City. It has surpassed Chicago and many other cities. In 2020, the population was 3,898,747. LA County has 10 million people, but in the greater LA Basin area, there are about 21 million people. including parts of North Orange County. It lies in a basin in Southern California, and it is considered a coastal desert. Now, there have always been people living in the area. The Chumash and Tongva were the two main Indian tribes. And a man by the name of Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo claimed the area for Spain in 1542. The city of Los Angeles was founded on September 4, and that was in the year 1845, but it did not become a municipality. Well, let's back up just a minute. Okay, the city was founded under Spanish governor Felipe de Neve, and it was considered a very small village. It was a group of Los Pueblos that formed it. But later, after the Mexican War of Independence, it became the property of Mexico in 1821. Then it became in 1848, at the end of the Mexican-American War, Los Angeles and the rest of California were purchased by the United States as part of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. So then LA was incorporated as a municipality of the United States, April 4th, 1850. So what you can do, and that was 5 months before California became a state. So officially, the birthday goes back to the 1700s, and that is because of the title. The title now, if you look at it, the title, it goes back to being the city of Our Lady, the Queen of the Angels. El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora La Reina de los Angeles. Angeles is the angels. Reina is the queen. So it was the queen of the angels because they felt it was such a beautiful spot. And at the same time, Father Junipero Sierra founded the mission of San Gabriel, which was at that time one of the largest and one of the oldest of the chain of missions founded. But Los Angeles, we abbreviated it, of course, didn't really take off until the discovery of oil in the 1890s. And then all of a sudden, there were lots of people moving out this way. If you look at old pictures, you see all the oil derricks, even up through the 1920s and 30s, all over the place. And then, of course, the movie business, when they invented and perfected cameras for the movie business. And we'll cover that more next week because we're running low on time. But I did want to say today it is a large and bustling city with many, many, many suburbs, including the one that you live in. Now, just to close, I know the news has been very discouraging and very upsetting. I think our hearts go out, especially to the people of Afghanistan. And if you are a praying person, please keep them in your prayers. There are many people besides the military running unofficial rescue missions in there, the Good Samaritans, maybe the Red Cross, many missionary organizations and other humanitarian societies that are doing their best to get out many, many of the people, not just Americans, but Afghanis who are friendly to the Americans, and get them to a safe place. So let's look at a story of inspiration. There is a 5-year mission to boldly go to outer space and collect the garbage. And here's a picture that kind of shows you what it looks like. In fact, it looks like it's upside down, doesn't it? I guess there is no right side or upside. But the European Space Agency, known as ESA, has launched a multi-armed robotic junk collector into orbit in its first mission to remove space debris circulating the Earth. After 60 years of manned launches, there are rocket remnants, thousands of defunct satellites, and hundreds of thousands of fragments cluttering the area. The debris collector actually is getting ready to blast off in 2025 to grab just a single piece of junk called Vespa, which was left by the European Space Agency's Vega launcher in 2013. The agency hopes the mission will pave the way for a wider reaching clear-up operation. Imagine how dangerous sailing the high seas would be if all the ships ever lost in history were still drifting on top of the water, says Jan Warner, ESA's Director General. That is the current situation in orbit. And maybe some of us will be going along on missions to help, just like we try to clean the beaches. Maybe we'll try to clean outer space. And one more fun story. A graduate has invented a plastic alternative. 23-year-old British design graduate has invented a biodegradable material made from fish waste that may replace plastic in packaging one day. It is biodegradable. Lucy Hughes used fish offcuts to develop a strong, flexible, and translucent material called Marina Tex, which looks and feels like plastic, but is disposable as compost. And here's a picture of this very smart girl. Congratulations to you. There have been some other things developed so that we no longer will have to have single-use plastic waste, which, takes up a lot of space. Well, that's it for today. Enjoy your discussion and telling each other what you've learned today, and see if you remember the official title of the city of Los Angeles. So I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. Stay safe, and most of all, stay nice and cool.